Shalom, peace and love, family. I'm your brother Daweed Haji. I wanted to share and open up about this whole argument, this dissent that's going on with FBA slash ADOS and Africans in the diaspora. It's extremely problematic for me. I do understand it, but it's getting to a point to where it's being divisive in a way that's counterproductive. Being FBA or Foundational Black American, meaning my family's their blood, their dirt is in the soil here, from Alabama to North Carolina to Cincinnati, Ohio to Ohio. I know where I'm from. I know my father's 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 father. You know, that I've traced my lineage back. So I have dirt here, I have a claim here, but because I understand that our people got here because of the disobedience of our people in the land of Israel, I believe that we are here and that us being here is the result of prophecy. My whole desire is to try to speak truth to power because I live here, I'm from here. However, I have visited the continent. I breathe the air, I drank the water, and it's just completely different. This isn't a sellout tactic. This isn't me hating where I came from, but it's me understanding that there is difference and that I can appreciate both, that I don't have to make this undying pledge toward one versus the other, that it's possible to appreciate and value both, if you will. Many of us that have a desire to move to Africa, and those that understand the benefit of the alignment of the time, that it's not just romanticizing the past, it's embracing a prophetic utterance that was spoken long before I got here. It was spoken long before we ever left the west coast of Africa at the hands of merciless beasts. I have heard that many within the FBA community that have said that after a certain period of time you cease to be who you were and you have, what they term ethnogenesis. I categorically disagree with that. We are still connected to the continent. All of our DNA goes back to the west coast of Africa, Central Africa. Like, your DNA is the most sophisticated genetic code that ever was or ever will be. It's the most sophisticated code, let alone genetic. They've tried to reproduce it at varying levels of success, and they're working to do so. But they have not succeeded yet, thankfully. But we understand that genetic code reveals who we are, and it still connects us to Mother Africa. I wanted to do this video because I'm extremely concerned about the levels of toxicity between the FBA and the Africans and the diaspora, and it's bidirectional. It's not just coming from one place. I've been aware of the delineation movement, the need to articulate our claim and who we are as a group for over 10 years now. I did videos about reparations and how it was valid, and that our people would leave here via an exodus, and that exodus does require payment, and that the God of our fathers will require that and will get that for us. I will repeat that we will get our reparations. That is that which is required, but Pharaoh will let the Most High's people go. I feel like we are the most forgiving, loving, compassionate people that ever was or ever will be, because we have been chosen by the Most High to do a specific work. It's not a knock on anybody else, but it's saying that where we are is necessary. It's not me trying to put us over anyone. I believe that our African brothers, our Jamaican brothers, our Haitian brothers, and have the same lineage, but they have somewhat of a different experience. And now they're coming forward. Their fighting spirit, their desire to strive and to resist is becoming greater and greater. And I believe a lot of that has been led by and sparked by a lot of our protests. Our deliverance will come with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. That's what the scripture says would be the prerequisite of our exodus. I think that reparations, I think that the Father delivering a people that has been so abused, so stepped on, is a righteous and it's a just thing, and that the God of our fathers believes in justice and judgment. Justice and judgment was a principle that was introduced at the very beginning, from when he said, "Let there be." It's the balance, it's the discretion, it's the subtlety, it's the wisdom that was there to know that which is appropriate and then to weigh in on it and to give the right outcome, to give that which is due and is proper. But it was first enunciated in the book of Genesis chapter 18. And I want to read a little bit so you'll see my eyes going back and forth, because I want to speak to you, to the audience, but I also really needed to take notes to stay on task, if that's all right, family. In Genesis 18 and 19, when the Most High was speaking of Abraham, he says, "For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and that they will keep the ways of Yah, to do justice and judgment, that Yah may bring unto Abraham that which he has spoken." Excuse me. Justice and judgment is the moral imperative. It's just and it's judgment that our people be compensated for the things that we've done. The delineation movement really gained a lot of traction and a lot of momentum when we saw that many people from outside of the culture were weighing in on it and speaking in a way that was adversarial. They were sabotaging a lot of our efforts, and that's problematic. There was no justice and there was no justice, because it is a just thing that the black man be compensated for building this nation on the bloody beaten backs of our ancestors. It is a just thing that the African man be compensated for his labor and his resources that he has had robbed for generations, for hundreds of years. Of course, that is a legitimate claim, and it is a debt that's owed below, and heaven and earth is witness of these things. In Proverbs chapter 1, verse 2, it states that to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, and judgment, and equity, to give subtlety to the simple, and to the young men knowledge and discretion. The operative word that I really want to focus on here is subtlety. Our people, and I'm speaking of FBA and ADOS more specifically, we're not monolithic. There's diversity of thought and diversity of experience. We have different needs based on different traumas from the culture that we grew up in, and it's subtle. One reason that we are, and FBAs and ADOS have been so outspoken, is because we refuse to allow the erasure of our experience. That was one thing that many people took exception to with the Essence Fest and with many other things, where you're trying to combine and syncretize the African experience with our experience. And it's not that it's necessarily a bad thing, but there's a time and a place when that is appropriate, with the permission of those that are trying, with the permission of those that are participating. We can't allow that erasure. Many of our sacrifices and creative efforts have been given to others with no acknowledgement. That has been our experience. If it was a lot of the inventions that our forefathers made from the time of slavery, even up into the 50s and the 60s, they were registered with the U.S. Patent Office, and we did not receive any compensation for that. Those that are outside the U.S. don't understand the pain and the loss of lineage to be a descendant that is discontinued from their heritage. It's a specific pain that we know all too well, and it's formed a spirit of resistance, a fighting spirit that was born out of the necessity of survival. Our reality is still rooted in this perverse radical racism, where something as whimsical as making eye contact with a European or being racial profiled by the police could result in death and dismemberment. This is the trauma that we live with to this day. We've existed under constant threat that has produced generational paranoia, generational anxiety. So if you say that we are all the same and you flatten blackness, you're saying that you really don't see me for who I am. You're saying that you don't see the legacy of our struggle, and you don't see what our ancestors did to overcome. That notion we have to categorically reject. You have to see us for who we are. We wish to work with all of our African brothers and sisters, but not at the expense of erasure of our cultural identity. We're not subservient to anyone, and will not perceive anyone as superior to us. We will engage, we will elevate as equals, not as an inferior group. The Most High encourages and maintains family borders and tribal cohesion. And I want to read the text in the book of Numbers, chapter 36, to give you an example of the mind of Torah and the mind of the Most High, that even within the tribes, the Father wanted us to maintain those family borders. Check this out, Numbers 36, 5 through 8. And Moshe commanded the children of Israel according to the word of Yah, saying, the tribe of the sons of Joseph hath said well. This is the thing which Yah doth command concerning the daughters of Zelophehad, saying, let them marry to whom they think best, only to the family of the tribe of their fathers shall they marry. So shall not the inheritance of the children of Israel remove from tribe to tribe, for every one of the children of Israel shall keep himself to the inheritance of the tribe of his fathers. And every daughter that possesseth an inheritance in any tribe of the children of Israel shall be wife unto one of the family of the tribe of her father, that the children of Israel may enjoy every man the inheritance of his father. So even within tribes, he wanted the daughters to marry within the family of her fathers, to keep that inheritance there, so that another tribe could not marry into that tribe and begin to push them out, to mix, to, I'm not even going to say adulterate, because adulterate is the mixture, but he wanted a certain ethnic, let me not say ethnic, tribal identity within the groups, and he maintained that. And I read that because I want us to understand the mind of the Most High on that. Even within the tribes, the Most High frowned upon another group moving in to a tribe and taking over. And so many of us here in the wilderness of the Western world, our claim is that we are of the tribe of Judah. We fit those prophecies where we were scattered to the four corners. Genesis 49 that said that the scepter won't depart from Judah, and that it was unto us that our brothers are going to come to. They're going to look to us because we're very influential people. We're probably, arguably the most influential people group on the face of the planet, to be so small, to only be 40 million of us. And then out of those 40, if you look at those that are incarcerated, it's even less. And that our brothers on the continent of Africa, they are the most resource dense, connected group on the face of the planet. So putting us together would be, and us coming together based on progress and shared values and goals, it will be mutually beneficial and in our best interest that we not sabotage one another. Let me give you an example of that sabotage. If I were to move to Jamaica and Jamaica was in the midst of their reparative justice, they were in the midst of fighting for their reparations, and I moved to Jamaica and I said that, well, I should be included in that, even though I have no blood, no dirt, no family ties to the island. And then sabotage and say, well, if I don't get it, then they should get it. That's sabotage. I have no part nor lot with them. If I were to move to South Africa, which I absolutely would love to do and plan to do, and began to seek reparations for what was done to them by the Dutch under this apartheid state, that would be absolute madness. If I were to move to the Congo and try to insert myself into the reparations claim of the Congolese for what Leopold did to them, the murder of tens of millions of Congolese, that would be error. However, for some reason, many of these people from these countries and from all around the world, they come to the U.S. and they try to tell us how we should negotiate our reparative justice claim, how we should go about trying to operate. And I don't believe that that is right, it's accurate, and many of our people are pushing back saying we won't tolerate it. Heaven has an obligation to balance the scales of justice, and everyone would say that Yah, the God of our fathers, that he is a just God. So this, how should I frame this? The things that our ancestors went through has to be answered for. I open with the belief that this is a prophetic utterance. And I'm looking at Ezekiel chapter 37 and verse 16, where it says that the two sticks are going to come together and be one in the hands of the Most High. I believe there's a coming together of Judah that was scattered, as well as our brothers on the continent. I do not subscribe to the notion that all of our brothers on the continent are Hamitic. Most of them are Shemitic. They have the culture, they have the language, they have the tradition that was intact prior to the incursion of the European. I believe that's just my belief based on rich and in-depth research. So I believe that the Father is going to bring us back together, and that this is the very beginning of the dry bones coming together and working to accomplish that which has been stated prophetically. Many of my people cannot conceive of a reality outside of America. As I told you, I've imagined it. I've gone to Africa. I've prayed for it, and I'm actively preparing for it, preparing for a reality outside of America. My sincerest desire is to be able to write and to record and to tell our stories, be that in America, be that in Africa, be that in the diaspora, or throughout the entire world. FBA and ADOS, I want to say this. No one can steal your reparations. No one can take that which is rightfully yours. I've heard that even some people are trying to sue the AU for even putting forth a claim. When instead of trying to sue the AU, you probably should consider suing the ones that are really fighting you in trying to get your reparations. That would be a novel idea. But also, I want our people to consider that if we think that we're going to march and we're going to vote our way into reparations, I don't believe that that's going to be a reality. I believe that we're sadly mistaken, that we've been in the belly of this beast for over 400 years, and they've never tried to repair the damage that was done. I believe that if they would have had their way, if the Most High had not been our help, our plight would have been as many of those that were indigenous and native to this area. Now, many of our people subscribe to the notion that we are indigenous, that we had an ethnogenesis and we're no longer a part of African that we've been here the entire time, but I don't subscribe to that. We know that power never concedes without demand. Our demand is coming from on high. It's prophecy, and that is very possible that the Most High will use our family, our brothers and sisters on the continent, to begin to echo our demands for reparations as we watch and pray for the supernatural, for the Most High to intervene, as they are able, as a governing body, to go to the United Nations, to go to these other countries and make demands and say, well, if you don't meet these demands, then we will withhold that which you desire from us. If it's our natural resources, our mines, our precious metals, our gemstones, they have a certain amount of leverage that they might be able to use over the course of time. I wanted to just share that, and I pray that you will consider it. I don't want to be before you long, but that please, please enter into this with prayer, with thoughtfulness, and understand that the Most High is not divisive, and that our people should be focused on family first and foremost, and then know who your family is, and let's try to work together to accomplish what they say is impossible. I'm your brother Dawid Haji. I encourage you to keep the faith, keep yourself in the love of Yah, because our salvation is nearer than when we first believed. Shalom, shalom.